Hello and welcome. What are we going to do now is we are going to test our recipient configuration. So, we already tried to send and receive emails, and we were able to send an email from Parviz to Jeff and Jeff to Parviz. So, if you remember, we created a distribution group and we created shared mailbox and some resources mailbox. So now it's time to test all those in practical so that you can see how they really works, and you can try that when you build your own lab. What I'm going to do now is I'm gonna go to my Exchange server, which is at Sacramento, and I'll quickly just log in here. So once I log in here, now I'll have to type in my credential for Exchange server, which is my domain administrator password. And once we are in, then we will be able to test. So right now you can see that it is trying to connect to Exchange, which means that it is not connected to Exchange right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the Outlook is connected to the Exchange server. Alright, so we will have to wait a little. And what I'm gonna do now is I'll just do a ping to just see if we are connected. 60 and 61. So I can ping both of them. So this is another good troubleshooting for you to know why the Outlook is keep saying that connecting to Exchange server. So I just closed it and I'm gonna turn it back on, and then I'm gonna see if it's going to connect or not. If it's not, then there's one other trick that you can try. So let it log in, and what I'm going to do is whenever your Exchange server is giving issues like this and you're seeing something like trying to connect to Exchange server, one thing that you can do is you can go to your Exchange server, go to administrative tools, and in there what you can do is you can check for Exchange services if they are all running or not, because most of the time when you restart your Exchange server, or when you're working on a virtual environment and you suspend your virtual machines and you turn them back on, either it takes time to uh, turn on or fully starts, and sometimes your Exchange services are stopped or it's like not running. That's why you can just do these kind of troubleshootings to make your Exchange work. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to services, and in services I will just see if my Exchange services are running or not. So double click on services and also go to my New York Exchange, and I will log in here and see if my services are running in this server too. So I'm checking on both servers right now, and in services console, click type M, and it's gonna bring you everything, and you can see that almost all services are running, and it's not something that we have to worry about. So most of the time when your information store service is stopped, or your Active Directory topology service, or like this service is because this service belongs to your mailbox database in public folder databases. So when it is stopped, your Exchange connectivity is not working, and sometimes when you are not able to send emails, what you can do is you can restart your Exchange transport service, or you can check for Exchange transport service if it's running or not. So all like your service hosts, like these are another uh, service for your client access and mailbox, so make sure that they are running. So right now you see that it is connected, so I didn't do anything. It was just because it just took a little bit of time to load my Exchange server. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my Exchange server, and in my recipient configuration I'm gonna check for groups. So we got finance group, we got IT group and we got ops group. So in ops group, administrator and Parisian Joe is owner. And let me see who is the member. Who is the member for IT distribution group? So I'm gonna click on edit here to go to the distribution group properties, and owners is Parvis and administrator, and members are Jeff and Parvis. So let's send an email to IT group and let them know that um, something is not working. So when you click IT, when you type IT, you can press Alt K, which is going to automatically select your distribution group based on the name. So administrator, desktop support, and Parisian Joe is the member. So I'm a user and I'm trying to report an issue to IT department. So I'm sending an email to IT group, and I'll just want to type that, hi, my mouse is not working. Hi, my mouse is not working. So I'm gonna send an email now. So you should be receiving an email to Jeff Green's mailbox and then Parvi's mailbox. So if I go in here, you see I got an email, and this email was for administrator, desktop support, Jeff Green, and um, it was sent by IT. So if I go back here, you can see that I got an email too. So this is how the distribution group works. So this is how you can test your distribution group. And whenever you want to send an email to multiple users, you can just send emails to them this way. So one other thing, if you remember, we just did a setup with dynamic distribution group where you have to define rules, and it's gonna add the members automatically. You don't have to add members manually, it's going to add members automatically. So membership is going to be like users with Exchange mailbox, and it is going to be recipients who are from IT department, and company is Elmjo Tech. So if I go back to Jeff, for example, and I just try to check on the company, which is organization, you can see that it is Elmjo Tech and department is IT. So which means that when I created this group, these rules matches the properties of Jeff and Parviz. So now what are we going to do is we are going to test our dynamic distribution group. So I did not add Jeff and Parviz manually to this distribution group. It added it itself by using the rules and policies that we added in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say send an email to finance at Elmjo Tech. So once again, see here, um, it is FIN. So FIN test test send. Let's see who's going to receive email. Oh, Jeff received an email and Parviz received an email. That's the beauty of dynamic distribution group. So Parvi's company was Elmjotech and the department was IT. So distribution group just check that Parviz and Jeff got all those rules, like all those policies or rules that is already added to there. It matches those conditions, and after like matching those conditions, distribution group picked them up as their members, and then it just sent an email to us. So that's how dynamic distribution group works. Another thing that we configured was resources mailbox. So how resources mailbox works? For example, if I go to my calendar and I right click here and I say new new meeting. For example, new meeting. And in this new meeting, I want to invite Jeff. Let me see. I want to invite IT department, and then I want to book in and out meeting room. So press OK. We are going to have a meeting at in and out. So when you click on scheduling assistant, you can see that IT department in and out, 8 o'clock, 8 a.m., like no schedules. For in and out, no schedule. And you can see that good, fair, poor. It's going to show you if in and out is reserved. So what are we going to do now is we are going to go back, and then we will send anyway. So we already sent the location and everything. So now uh, in and out is already booked. So one other thing uh, that I want to show you is that once I just booked a meeting, it's going to do what? It's going to tell me that if it is going to be accepted. For example, I'm the user and I want to accept it. So I accepted it, and now if I go back to meetings and I say, for example, new meeting request, and I say IT department and in and no out. So when I click on scheduling assistant, you can see that they are booked. They are booked. So that's how the resources mailbox works. I'm not going to save this. So that's how you can just send an email to resources mailbox, and then that's how they will just uh, you do the reservation and all those kind of things. Another thing that we learned was shared mailbox. Shared mailbox or contacts actually. In the context, so what I want to do is I want to send an email to this person. So for example, if I go to my Outlook again and say, for example, Parviz at gmail.com, press Alt K. So it is, let me try another email. For example, John at hotmail.com and press Alt K. So you can see that it is in here, but when I click here to 2 and say John at hotmail.com, are you able to see it here? Are you able to see John at hotmail.com in your list? No, you're not. But because you created a contact which is like an external email address, this is not the user account that can log into your network. It is just an external email address, and the reason you create it, it's just a contact to give uh, a better or comfort to your users to pick them up from their address book. For example, I want to send an email to Denver Smith. Denver Smith is already in my contact list, and it's in my address book. You can see that Denver at yahoo.com. It's already in my address book. So what are we doing with the contact? We are just adding them in our address book so that users can easily pick them up. So they are just the external users that we are adding them as a contact in our exchange, so that users can always use their address book to search for those kind of users who are not inside our company. They are just outside the company. So another mailbox was shared mailbox. So if I click on edit here and I go to mailbox delegation, and you can see that in mailbox delegation, Jeff Green got full access to shared mailbox. The purpose of using shared mailbox was to uh, just share it with multiple users so that they can use this one mailbox as like multiple people can use one mailbox. So one mailbox is shared between multiple people. So if you remember, what we did in here is we configured or created a shared mailbox as invoice at ilmjotech.local, and then what we did, we just gave Jeff, and then I think Parvis too, um, access to invoice. So you can see that, and it is already added. So this is the beauty of Outlook 2016. With the older version of Outlook, it wasn't added. You had to go to file, you had to go to account settings, and then double click, and then go to more settings, and then go to advanced and add invoice. For example, invoice in here. That's how you were adding mailboxes, like with older version of Outlook. But this is the good thing or the beauty of Outlook 2016 and Exchange Server 2016, where it adds the mailbox automatically. So now if someone sends an email to invoice, Purvis will be able to check his email addresses on his personal account or his office account, and then in the shared mailbox. So for example, if I say new and then I send an email to invoice and I say test, so you see that right now it is like the permission is given to both Parviz and Jeff. So now what's going to happen is if I come to invoice, you will see that Parviz send an email and Jeff can access invoice emails. And then if I come here, Elmjo or Parviz can also access this emails. So this is how it works. So one other thing that I forgot to tell you is like when you just send an email or you reserve a room, it either sends a decline or accepted. So In and Out has declined this meeting. Your meeting request was declined. The invitation was declined because it occurred in the past. So it just declined. So one of the other good things with the resources mailbox is when you send them a meeting invite, if they are reserved, if they are not free, they will send you declined or they will send you accepted. So that's one other thing. So this is how you can test shared mailbox. You can share distribution groups, you can send check the dynamic distribution group and contacts and some all other things that we have learned. So this was just a practical. I just wanted to show you all these things in practical that we learned, so that if you have any questions or you want to see them in practical, which is really a good thing. So I hope this was informative for you and you have learned something, and I'll see you on next video.